We're getting older now, but we all remember the video games that mean the most to us. From Earthbound to Zelda and everything in between. Join me, Metroids Primed, as I take you on a journey to show you the video games that changed my life. Hey guys, welcome back for another episode. This year I really wanted to do a Halloween themed episode, and I want to do a retrospective on a series that I don't think gets enough love, and that's the Gargoyles Quest Demon Crest series. And it's a series that had its roots in a very Halloween themed game, and that is Ghosts and Goblins. And not a lot of people know that the main character in the Gargoyles Quest and Demon Crest series was actually an enemy in Ghosts and Goblins and Super Ghouls and Ghosts. And I know if you've ever played these games before, you know they are extremely hard. I know one publication has named Ghosts and Goblins like the second hardest game that's ever been made. And the Ghosts and Goblins series was very dark for its time. The actual arcade game came out in '85 and they released the NES port in '86. But what was really maniacal about Ghosts and Goblins is you go all the way through the game, this extremely hard game, and if you get hit once, you lose your armor. If you get hit twice, you die. And you go all the way through the game, you beat the end boss, and it says at the end of that it was a trap set up by Satan. And you have to go all the way back through the game again on a harder difficulty just to, fight the same guy again at a harder difficulty, and then you beat the game. So you've really got to go through the game twice, and it was just extremely punishing gameplay back then. And the series went on to produce several sequels. You had Ghouls and Ghosts for the Sega Genesis, which isn't shown here, and Super Ghouls and Ghosts, which I have right here. And the main character from the Gargoyles Quest actually makes an appearance as a boss in this game as well. But you have two games that Capcom makes where Firebrand makes an appearance as a boss. And Capcom actually deemed this character interesting enough to give him his own series, a 3-part series which spanned from the Game Boy to the Nintendo Entertainment System all the way to the Super Nintendo. On May 2nd, 1990, we saw the release of the first Gargoyles Quest game on the Game Boy system. And the game is a mix between an RPG and a side-scrolling platformer. And I say an RPG, but it really has RPG elements in the game. There's side-scrolling platforming levels, and there's also an overhead view where you're flying across the land. And that's where the RPG element comes in, because there's random encounters, just like in an RPG at that time. And the story starts off in Gargoyles Quest as a young gargoyle named Firebrand takes on a quest to take down King Brager and bring back peace to the ghoul realm. And guys, this is a great game for the Game Boy system. Very overlooked. You don't hear it talked about very much. And it's kind of hard to find these days, but you can find it for $15 to $20 on eBay. And another thing that I found really interesting with this game is if you look at the box art, you'll notice that Firebrand is green, where in every other iteration of Firebrand we see him as red. And I think they did that as a marketing tool to make the game more appealing to parents to buy for their kids, because let's face it, not every parent wants their kids playing a game that with a character that looks like a little demon. So I think that was one thing they changed to make the game more appealing to the masses. But definitely interesting that this is the one iteration of Firebrand where we see that he is actually green instead of red. We had to wait 2 more years before Capcom gave us another Gargoyles Quest game. And in October 1992, they gave us Gargoyles Quest 2 for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Even though Gargoyles Quest 2 was labeled the second in the series, it's actually a prequel to the first game on the Game Boy. The story actually starts off with Firebrand in training to become a warrior in a small village in the Ghoul realm. And while he's in training, a black light comes and destroys his home. And it actually wounds the king, King Morok of the small village. And before he dies, he calls Firebrand to his side and entrusts him with the task of finding out what this black light is and why it destroyed their home. So the whole game is finding out the mystery of the black light. Gargoyles Quest 2 really built on what the first game did well. We have it in color this time thanks to the Nintendo Entertainment System, and as you can see in this game, Firebrand is red instead of the green that we saw on the Game Boy. But the game really has two different type levels. It has the overhead view and then it has the side-scrolling platforming levels. And they took out some of the RPG elements that we saw in the first Gargoyles Quest game. They took out the random encounters while you're in the overhead flight mode. But the game was just really solid, really good game for the Nintendo, and definitely an overlooked game that not many people talk about these days. Capcom made us wait 2 long years before we got the incredible finale to the Gargoyles Quest series. And in November 1994, we got the much darker, much more gothic Demon's Crest for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. And guys, what a game Demon's Crest is. It's one of the best side-scrolling platformers on the Super Nintendo system. At the beginning of the story, we find Firebrand trying to collect all of the elemental crests so he can rule the demon world. But they're actually stolen from him by his arch nemesis, Phalanx. And wow, does this game start off with an amazing fight. You start off fighting a demon dragon, of all things. And the action never really stops from there. The gameplay has elements of Super Castlevania and Super Metroid, wherein you have to you can play these levels multiple times throughout the game, and you can only access levels once you have certain items, once you defeat, certain bosses. And you power yourself up that way. But it's truly an amazing side-scrolling platformer. But for real guys, this series does not get enough love. I wanted to do a retrospective on it to let more people know about it. And definitely if you guys have not tried out any of these games, they're seriously some of the best side-scrolling platformers on Nintendo's first 3 systems. So definitely check it out. Alright guys, that's it for this retrospective. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please have a safe and happy Halloween. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them down below. Please like the video, and guys, as always, we'll see you next time.